What's up everyone? Today we're going to walk you through how I set my boat up for a fishing tournament. We're going to basically go through the boat and we're going to talk about the key things that I have in my boat and different ways that I store certain things to help my boat go faster, as well as certain key things that I need to have in my boat. This just makes a fishing trip go so much smoother when you get out there on the water. So let's just jump right in and we'll start up front. So the first compartment that we'll look into is my rod locker. Maybe I'm a little OCD, but I like to keep my rods that I'm planning on using for the day on that top row, and then I use the rods that I don't plan on using or don't plan on getting out of the rod locker on the bottom row. And these Phoenixes have a rod divider and a stand here, and I actually removed mine and I could fit probably twice as many rods in here. But this is what my boat looks like when I'm rigged up ready to go for a tournament. I'll have the 8 rods or whatever that I plan on pulling out for the day up on that top row, the other ones on the bottom. That way I know in the morning, if it's dark or whatever, I know exactly which rods I want to get out, and I don't have to go digging in here to try and find different rods. The opposite side, I just keep a bunch of random stuff. So I keep my life jackets. I keep about 3 life jackets in my boat at all times, just in case I get a third person in the boat and I forget to bring a life jacket. I always have that third one in there just in case. You got your lights, and then you got your other light down here stored on the lid and then stored on this wall here. And then I also have a motorcycle helmet that I got off Amazon for really cheap. And that works really nice when it's raining. I can throw that on, I can run wide open and still see, don't get beat by the wind or anything like that, so that works out really good. I have a lure retriever that I basically rigged up on an old broken rod, and I just got a big hound dog lure retriever attached to that, so I can just push the button and drop it down and get my baits off, and it works really good. I have my electronic stuff, my fuse panel, my Ethernet box for my hummingbirds, and then I have a bunch of just random ins and outs, rain jackets, all the important stuff that you're going to need on a day on the water. So now to the main compartment. This is where I keep all my tackle, almost all my tackle. Some of it's in the back, but the main stuff that I plan on using for the day, obviously I'll get the net out whenever I start fishing for the day, and it'll be out of the way. But I have this little slider thing on my Phoenix. I like to keep my soft plastics in there, certain ones that I tend to use quite a bit. There's a lot of room way back here that I can't really reach very often, so I keep my swim baits back there. If I need a new swim bait, I'll go back and reach in there. But I like to keep stuff that I'm not planning on using as much back there, or if I plan on using those, I'll bring a couple of those and I'll put those in the day box that I'm getting ready to show you here in a little bit. But I've put soft plastics and stuff on the sides, both sides. I have some smaller terminal tackle stuff right here on this end, and it's got this little snake light here, so if I'm rigging tackle at night or in the mornings before takeoff, I can light up the rod, or light up the compartment. But I like to keep my 3700 waterproof deep boxes in the middle here, and as you can see, those are mostly hard baits, hooks, swim bait hooks, spinner baits, frogs, things like that. Whereas the soft plastics I like to keep, usually I like to keep those in the back or on the sides here. So I also have a lure hanger up here. And basically it's just a foam piece that slides in and out, but I can hang baits on there whenever I plan on using them, and get them. They'll be easy to reach and ready to go whenever I need them. The measuring board is right here. The way Phoenix does that, that's pretty nice. That just slides right in there and it's out of the way at all times. I know different brands of boats do different things, but that's pretty slick the way it's stored in there. And another thing that I really like to do, they have this small day box on the side, And I like to store a lot of my stuff that I plan on using for the tournament. So like this weekend, I'm heading to the river. So I plan on throwing speed crawls, flipping a bunch of different random stuff. And also I have hooks. So some of the stuff that I plan on throwing down at the river, I have those in the boat, but I also have extras right here, and I can grab these a lot easier than if I have to go digging through the boat. So this day box is really neat. And then also I can take that out, and underneath here I keep a lot of random stuff. So like I have a box for practice, I have sock hats, buffs, all my Lake Master cards, hand warmers because you never know when it's going to get cold, extra hats in case I have one fly off while I'm running down the lake. I have some extra reels that I have spooled up that I don't have on any rods. And then I have a box full of treble hooks, and this is how I store my treble hooks. I leave them in the original containers, and I actually made a video on this in the past, so I'm not really going to talk about it. I keep that underneath my day box, as well as some spinnerbait blades, some fishing line, and anything that I'm not going to get to all the time, but it's still really close to where I can just reach in there and grab it whenever I do end up needing it. But this day box really comes in handy for grabbing things on the go. Makes it a lot faster for me to grab things and be more efficient. So another thing that I really like, and a lot of boats have these nowadays, but the storage for pliers, scissors. I have an O-ring pliers, which I think is really important. You could probably get treble hooks off with just the regular pliers, but it's so much easier to just have a O-ring pliers that's got that little hook or whatever you call it there, and it's designed for grabbing O-rings and taking treble hooks on and off. You can do it really quick. But I have a couple pairs of scissors, couple pairs of pliers, a hook sharpener, everything I need right there, and it's out of the way. I'm not tripping over it, things like that. Cooler, I don't have anything in here right now, but whenever I go, I'll actually keep my sunscreen in there because it gets too hot sometimes. But when I go, that's where all my boat snacks will go. That's where all my waters, things like that, Gatorade, whatever I need to stay hydrated. And also my Lucky Cookies will definitely be in there on game day. This little compartment is where I keep my super glue and any dye that I have. I have some JJ's Magic in there, and then I have a dye pen in there as well. And then this one here, I keep some Sharpies, some glue, some line conditioner, and any ins and outs like that. And then underneath, I keep a rope for either towing someone in or tying up to a dock or whatever. So, coming over here, this is, it's kind of a rod locker for the co-angler, but I don't use it as a rod locker for co-angler. I use it to put all my tools and things like that in there. Carry this shallow water push pole around with me whenever I'm going somewhere like the river or somewhere I know I'm going to fish shallow. So this is where all the random stuff goes. And it's out of my way. I don't ever see it. It's not with all my tackle and stuff. But I have tools, a couple random. I just have a Plano box that's just got a bunch of random stuff in it. Got electrical connectors, got certain sockets that will fit, that are very specific to the boat. So instead of carrying a whole socket set, which I have that, but I have smaller ones. Instead of carrying like a lot of these bigger ones, I throughout the years accumulated just random ones that I know will fit for certain things on the boat, and I'll throw them in this Plano box and keep them all in one place. But I have extra fuses, I have extra connectors, electrical connectors, some zip ties, anything that I think that I might need if I get into a bind on the lake. It's something I can fix real quick. I also have a wooden block back there that I use for taking my prop on and off. I have a torque wrench in here. I have a weigh-in bag. The reason I have a weigh-in bag is if I would break down or someone else would break down, we can transfer fish with that weigh-in bag to the other boat, and they can take us in order to make sure that our fish count. I have some flares, which is required some places, like in Michigan, we're required to have those. If you haven't seen my videos, this Gatorade bottle is used as a spacer underneath my trolling motor. So I put this under my trolling motor so that I can get even shallower and don't hit the bottom with my trolling motor. And then the number one thing that you always need in every fishing boat is toilet paper. So that's that's very important. You don't ever want to get in a bind where you don't have toilet paper and you're out there in the middle of the lake or anywhere really without toilet paper. In my middle compartment, one thing I like to do is I put this Tupperware container in here. As you can see, all this stuff is kind of a mess when you don't have this Tupperware container. So I like to keep my keys, my phone, things like that in this Tupperware container, because at the end of the day, when everything's bouncing around, it'll take a while to find it in all this mess. But what I do is I'll put that Tupperware container right in the center, put my glasses, I'll put my phones, my keys, my wallet, things like that in there. And then on the edge, I have G-Juice, I have a culling beam right here, and I have my scale, things like that, a towel, the registration, an extra kill switch, an extra power pole button. So just random ins and outs, some fizzing needles. And here's one thing that I got years ago. I was fishing with my buddy Mike Mosby, and he ended up hooking me in the eye with a treble hook. And it was actually a 5XD, Strike King 5XD. And after that, my dad actually said, you need to get yourself some side cuts and leave them in the boat all the time. So I got these big side cuts that are big enough to cut pretty much any hook. And if I get one in me or in someone else, I can cut that hook, remove the other hooks and barbs and everything so that it doesn't end up hooking me when we rip it out. That's one thing that you don't ever want to use, but if you have to and you get a hook in you or something, you want to remove those other hooks so that you don't get extra hooks in you that you didn't have before you started the whole ordeal. But that's kind of just my random box. Like I said, it's waterproof. I keep my phone, I keep my wallet, and anything in there like that that's ready to go. Most of the time this is empty for my co-angler to throw their stuff in at the beginning of the day. But if I'm fishing by myself, a lot of times this is empty also. And the reason I keep the one behind the driver's seat empty is because I want the weight distribution to be fairly even. So with tackle and stuff behind the passenger seat, if I'm fishing by myself, a lot of times I'll have more weight on that side of the boat. And so by leaving this compartment empty, it'll kind of even out the boat. By having this compartment empty, it'll kind of even out the boat, and it'll make the boat run a little bit better and a little bit faster. This compartment behind the passenger seat is where I store more tackle, and I tend to put more soft plastics and stuff that I'm not going to need all day long, and extra stuff that I plan on using but maybe don't need to get to like all the time. Also, if I want some extra stuff to store back in here, I'll throw it back in here and just throw it down in the corner or something. But this compartment is where I keep all of my tackle that doesn't fit in the front or that I don't want in the front for more clutter. I kind of spread things out so that it's less cluttered. So in my battery compartment, I got these nifty little trays that kind of sit in here. And over here I have a bunch of random parts for my trolling motor and just different parts for my boat that I may need. Like this one, obviously this prop is all chewed up, but I keep it in my boat in case I end up breaking a prop ear completely off or whatever, and I can throw that on my trolling motor and be back in business. You never want to be out there, your trolling motor prop breaks and you're completely done for the day. So it's always good to have a spare if you have a spare around. Like I said, this is one that I had already replaced. It's not a brand new one, it's just there in case I want to replace it and I'm in the middle of a tournament or something. I can pop that on real quick. It's just one bolt and a nut. This is empty because that's where I put like my motor toter and stuff. Whenever I pull them off the boat to go fishing, I'll just throw them in this compartment. I know there's a few different ways to store everything, and it takes a lot of trial and error, and throughout the years you kind of pick up on certain things that make it easier for you on the day on the water. Hopefully these tips helped. Hopefully there's a few things that you saw in this video that you think, man, I really need that in my boat, or man, I need to do something like that. So I really hope you guys learned something. Be sure to check out the other videos I have on my channel. And I hope you guys subscribe, like, do all that stuff. And we'll see you guys next time.